is welcome to week 3, CA 102, Culinary Arts and Foundations. Great job last week, everybody, on your assignments. I know we had a couple of burps there with some technology, but Chef Matthew and I were talking a little bit earlier, and it's really exciting to see everybody progress with their knife cuts. You know, the grips are becoming solid. Your dimensions are becoming much more efficient on your knife cuts. So as things are progressing, you're progressing, and it's really exciting to sit back and watch. So keep focused on that. So it's real exciting as we're progressing. Chef Matthew, can you hear me?
Yeah, right here.
why don't we talk a little bit about last week's assignments and talk about all the great things we did and see what we can do to make next week even better.
Well, I was great. I was stunned at some of them that I just couldn't believe how much you had progressed. Reading the narratives and the skills reviews was really fun too. It was good to get to know you all a little better, and it was really exciting to see that that some of you were really thrilled about knife cuts. I mean, this is a foundation aspect of the culinary arts, and you really have to pick this up, and it's very important. You'll see as you move on in the future, 10 years from now, you won't believe where your knife skills are, and you'll look at somebody who's just starting, and they will be amazed by what you can do with a knife. 5 years from now, 2 years from now, that stuff's going to happen. So it's super important. All those little details of the fine Brunoise and the fine Julienne, they get trickier and trickier as they get smaller and smaller, but they're still important. And the importance is in your discipline. It's in your attention to detail. And this is one of the best ways to test that and to teach you to pay attention to that. So I've been amazed at what's gone on. There are some issues though. I mean, there's some stuff we need to work on, and I just want you to know, Chef Warren and I are here to help. We're here to help those of you that had technology issues. If you had 100% on yours, keep doing what you're doing. If you had something in the 90s, you're still doing great. There's just little practice. Practice is probably the only thing I got you for if you're in the 90s. If you had a lower score, don't sweat it. You can practice, and I will work with you, and we will get your scores up. I want nothing more than to give everybody 100%. That would be a complete blast to me.
That's the ultimate goal at the end of the day, isn't it? See everybody walk out of here with 100%, which is awesome. And I need to make a quick comment, because as I look on my screen, I'm looking out over a sea of white chef coats, and I love it. So thank you guys for showing up professional tonight and looking good. I feel like I'm in a group of my own, and you guys are all going to know that feeling here pretty soon once you get out in industry. When you're surrounded by your brothers and sisters in industry, it's a totally different feeling. So thank you guys for showing up in your chef coats. It's a great looking experience to see that. How we doing, Chef Matthew? How we doing on signifying our week 2, our week 3, and all that other kind of good stuff?
It's better. It's better. And I know I think I'm funny, so I'm saying, hey, peace to you, man. And that's week 2. Okay, nobody thinks it's funny. Oh, wait, everybody's on mute. They were cracking up, Chef. They were cracking up.
I'm sure they were, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you're doing better on that. And that makes me think of something that would really help is if you could do me this favor and label your pictures a little bit. So if it's your Julienne, then put a little piece of paper on the cutting board next to it that says Julienne, or title the picture Julienne. One or the other, whichever's easiest for you. I don't care, as long as I can see something in there, because I did get a little lost in some of them. There are some pictures that were a little blurry and pixelated, and making sure you have enough light in there is really going to help. And I'm distracted because I keep looking at names. I'm like, I know you. This is a ball. Um, so, is there something else, Chef, that you were going?
And just a quick reminder, once, we were talking a little bit about before the meeting, Timothy and I, we're talking a little bit about, once you get into the industry, some of the things that we look for to help you succeed. And one of the biggest things that we pay attention to in industry is attention to detail. And the reason for that is you've only got one shot to make that customer happy. And if you can get that guy happy and get him in. So attention to detail, especially when submitting your assignments, it's like plating that plate. And when that plate goes into the window, the expediter picks it up and it goes out to the dining room. That plate needs to be solid and have everything on it. Same thing with your assignments. Just double check the rubric before you submit it. Just make sure everything is there in your folder and you're solid. You're always going to succeed. And then, Chef Matthew was talking about something that's real critical here about practice a few minutes ago. Last week, we talked about patience, practice, and discipline. And there's a big saying that we have in the kitchens all over the world, and that is give time, time. None of us are born with this knife grip, right? I don't know if anybody came out of the womb with 3 fingers on the grip and an index finger on the thumb, did you? So it takes time to develop that. So you got to give yourself patience. Give time, time. As a personal recommendation, I know Chef Matthew thinks the same thing. Every day, spend 10, 15 minutes in that kitchen just slicing and dicing. You're going to get better. The better and the more consistent you become, the faster you're going to become, and the quicker you're going to climb that ladder. So that's a big issue. How's everybody out there doing in technology world? Yeah, thumbs up, everybody. Everybody happy with Google? Yeah, nobody's throwing their computer across the room yet? No shattered windows? Yeah. And that's another give time thing, guys. The technology thing, everything is new right now. You guys are entering into the 3rd week of this class. You're learning how to hold a knife. You're learning knife cuts. You're dealing with Google. You're dealing with, us. And so everything's new. Be patient. You're going to get through it. That Google is going to become second nature to you pretty soon. You're going to fall in love with it. So just remember that 877-224-8576 phone number. It's on the bottom of every class page. And then also on the class page, there is that help tab up there at the top. Click on it, Help Center, ton of videos in there on how to submit your assignments. You can't figure it out, reach out to one of us. We're going to do everything we can to help you out.
Yeah, I can't stress that enough. I mean, I did get some pictures that are not in the right place, and it slows down the rhythm. I just need you to follow those directions and check out those tutorials. And if the tutorials don't make sense to you, then like Chef said, give a call to tech. You might have to schedule an appointment, but they're the best ones to walk you through it step by step, because they walk around with those programs in their head. I'm not that good at it, but they are perfect at it. So yeah, follow those guidelines like Chef was mentioning. Like for week 2, we had 10 pictures. For week 3, we need 11 pictures. So stick to that. If you're 1 or 2 over, I'm okay, but I'm getting some redundant ones where I get the same picture like 2 or 3 times. One's at the beginning, one's in the middle, and one's at the end. I'm like, wait, have I seen this picture before? Is that really something? It's kind of confusing. It makes it hard to grade. So also this week, week 2, we had a lot of partial submissions. I understand people want to get something in and get it in before the deadline. You have something to say on that, Chef? Or
oh no, I'm all over that. I mean, it's like serving a plate with the au jus on it and no meat. Right?
Yeah.
you got it. You don't want to serve the baked potato without the sour cream. You got to serve the whole thing together. And so it's not pie unless there's cherries in there. And so when you submit that assignment, make sure the whole thing's all together. It's really critical, because what it does is it not only creates twice the amount of work for you, but twice the amount of work on this end. And old chefs like myself, I'm not that old, but older chefs like myself that have been around for a while, we have an old saying that we use in the kitchen. We never, ever mind doing something once, but we hate having to do it twice. And so if you can submit that assignment one time, you're ahead of the game. So you're life easy.
And I look at it too, like, I mean, it's going to cause you, like, if you turn it in 3 parts, then you got to go do that 3 times over again. And I know your time is valuable. So don't waste your time trying to do that. Get it done in one piece and get it all turned in at once.
Yeah.
And if there's something missing, I'll let you know. But I really appreciate it if we get them put together and get all the parts together in one.
How many of you guys out there are getting sick and tired of potatoes yet? Anybody getting tired of potatoes? Guess what? Week 3, we get potatoes, and it's a good thing. Number one, potatoes are an awesome way to perfect your knife techniques, to master that technique. Number 2, they're extremely inexpensive. Number 3, they're extremely versatile. The foundation of good culinary arts is great knife skills, and we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. I'm just giving you a little tease because we are sticking with potatoes this week. And you know what? Once they're gone, you're not going to run into them for about 3 or 4 weeks until we make chilled potato soup, vichyssoise, down the road a little bit. So relish your time with them this week because they're going away for a little bit. But they are a great way to continue practicing and mastering those knife cuts. So that's why we're using them so much. It's a very effective way. Chef Matthew, do you have anything else to add to the?
Just one thing before you submit, proofread. Take a look at it again. Yeah. Just make sure, double check your verbiage, and double check that you got everything in there that you think you need to have. So again, I'm loving the narratives. I love the stories. It's you guys, I'm telling you, I started cooking when I was 15, and I went to culinary school in 1987, and it's the same story. I mean, I was going to school and working, and it's tough. Yeah.
They had schools?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Hey, that's awesome. I got to back up Chef Matthew on that because that's really critical information. I see a lot of faces on this screen right now. You guys will become the face of your restaurant. You guys will become the face of your hotel, your banquet facilities. And included with that is a lot of writing that you guys are going to be doing. You're going to write menus. You're going to write job descriptions. You're going to write operational procedures. And guess what? When people read that, it's a direct reflection upon you, and you are a direct reflection upon your facility. So you want to make sure that it's a part of professionalism. Always take a couple minutes to go back and proofread that. Make sure that that everybody that reads it understands it, and it's going to get through. And I know this is not a writing class; it's a culinary class. But you know what? It's a part of professionalism, and we all have to follow through with it. So, how's everybody out there? What's that, Chef?
I just put a word in the chat, demi-glaze. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that misspelled. That is not the correct spelling. But when I see that on a menu, I go, oh, well, the chef didn't go to culinary school. They have no formal training, or they would know that it's really demi.
Yep. Yes.
Demi-glace.
Absolutely. Good call.
So that's just a simple example. But people think that when they see that, and a chef comes in to evaluate a restaurant and they see things all spelled wrong, they're like, oh, sorry. I don't know about this guy or this gal.
C-A-R-O-T.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you see it. It's just a reflection upon your professionalism, and you want to carry yourself a little bit better in that. How many of you out there are feeling comfortable with your knife grips? Let me see a sign of hands out there.
They look good.
Yeah, they're looking good.
Yep.
We got 3 fingers on the grip. We got our index finger and thumb on the blade.
Yep.
Are there any guilty parties out there for putting their finger on top of the blade? Anybody do that? No, nobody rocking and rolling? Yeah, I see April up there saying something. No, yeah, you want to, yeah, there you go, Chef. We want to make sure that we keep that. Like I mentioned earlier, we are not born with that. we have to work that, and we have to train our muscles to be that way. How are we doing with the claw grip out there? Is everybody feeling pretty good with that? Yeah, fingertips only on the food, knuckles extended forward, guiding the blade with that first set of knuckles right there.
They're doing pretty well.
Yeah, I pray every night before I go to bed that we all end up with 10 fingers. So, you know, these techniques are going to get you there. So make sure that you're working on that claw grip. It's extremely important. Chef Matthew.
I saw one report of cuts. So
I heard it come through the grapevine as well.
That's good. And there's going to be a cut. Everybody's going to get a cut. That's just part of the game. So
yeah. How we doing on shoes? Everybody wearing shoes? Yeah.
I haven't seen any toes lately.
See Kevin over there raising a hand. That's a good thing. Yeah. I know that I know this seems a little bit awkward. A lot of you guys are still cooking in your home kitchens, and you want to be comfortable, and you're probably walking around chasing kids and dogs and all that other kind of stuff, and you're thinking, why do you want us to wear shoes? Number one, it's a tremendous safety hazard. You've got knives dropping, you've got hot things dropping. Pretty soon we're going to be flipping eggs and getting into sauteing items and that type of thing. Those hot liquids drop down on top of your big toe. Ooh, it hurts. And then I can't tell you how many guys I've seen step on skewers before and all these other things. So it's a real safety hazard. Number two, you guys are going to be in industry here pretty soon if you're not already in there. And guess what? You ain't showing up in flip-flops to the kitchen. So get yourself in the habit now. And that's what we're trying to do, is establish these habits to get you guys, when you show up to work, you're ready to roll. So it's critical. These habits now that you form are going to stick with you for the remainder of your career. So it's never too late to start. So shoes, shoes, shoes.
Totally about habits. Yep. Safety habits. Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. How many people out there are familiar with the term mise en place? Mise en place? There you go, Ivory. I didn't see you raise your hand there. Awesome, man. That is a term that we're going to become a little bit more familiar with. M-I-S-E, next word E-N, next word P-L-A-C-E. Mise en place is extremely critical. It's something you're going to work with every day while you're in industry. Its literal translation is everything in its place. And as we progress in this course, this week you're working with multiple items. You're working with carrots, and you're working with potatoes and peelers and these other things. We got to make sure that our mise en place is set and ready to roll. There's nothing like cooking and having to stop and run halfway across your kitchen looking for a carrot peeler, digging through the drawer and everything else. Have it, set your station, have it ready to go. It's extremely critical. It's a habit now. Cutting boards, anchors, peeler, knife, sanitation, neatly folded towel, ready to go. This habit will jumpstart you into industry. So it's something that we're really harping on, trying to get you guys ready, and it's reasonable. That's the reason behind that. So week 3, here we are. We're moving on to some new knife cuts. How's everybody feeling about the bâtonnet out there? Good? Chef Matthew, what size is the bâtonnet?
Bâtonnet is 1/4 by 1/4 by 2 to 2.5 inches long.
Yeah. Did anybody get that confused with the Julienne? That's an 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch by 2 to 3. Did we have some confusion out there this week, Chef Matthew?
I wasn't sure because nothing was labeled, or
okay.
Several weren't labeled, so I wasn't sure. And what I did was I told them, okay, this looks like this, so I'll let you make it up. And also, it helps me if it's directly next to the ruler. So if there's a bâtonnet, then the ruler is right next to the bâtonnet, and there's one like this and there's one like this right next to the ruler.
Right.
So then I can absolutely see, and I absolutely know. So that's why I also requested that you label the cuts.
You told me that there's 2 sides to every ruler. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. One side is centimeters. One side is inches. Yeah, the inches side is the one we use in the United States. The only country in the world that uses that, but that's another story. Yeah, but the other side is centimeters, and we don't use that here. So
So if anybody has any questions regarding that, if you go back to the week 2 class page, you're going to see those helpful links, and under those helpful links, it's going to show you exactly how to use that ruler, and to get the 1/16 of an inch is the first click, 1/8 of an inch is the second click. It's going to show you all that information to help you really zero in on these knife cuts. And knife cuts, what's the big deal? Why are we harping on this? Yeah, it is a sign of a professional cook. The appearance is a huge difference. It's a nice professional sharp look when you have those nice knife cuts. But there's a couple other reasons as well. And one, how many people out there have done any sauteing before? Right? Can you imagine sauteing a big carrot, a julienne carrot, and a brunoise carrot? Are they all going to cook at the same time? No, you're going to have like a puree of carrot, and you're going to have a raw carrot. And so cooking times is one of the biggest reasons we enforce this consistency. And then secondly, it's also an issue of cost, which is one of our #1 responsibilities in the restaurant industry. So, you know, we want to make sure everything's consistent and sharp and to the T. And, you know, when this week's assignment, we're getting ready to talk about a new knife cut. And you go to the grocery store, and we're going to be working with carrots this week as well as potatoes. And some of the carrots are like long and thin, and then there's other carrots that are big and thick. And it's not that they come out of the ground or there's just some random thing going on. Chefs purchase their product according to size. We're very specific about what we want, especially with potatoes. They're sold by count. How many potatoes are in a case? What size are they? What size are the carrots? Are they jumbo, small? So for this week's assignment, we want to make sure that we're purchasing jumbo carrots, because our new cut this week is called a paysanne. A paysanne, P-A-Y-S-A-N-N-E. It's a little bit of a different cut. We kind of call it a utility cut in the kitchen. And what you're going to do is you're going to peel your carrot. You're going to wash it, then you're going to peel it. We all know why we wash the carrot first, right? Doesn't have anything to do with Peter the Rabbit. No, it's, you know, the carrot grows in the ground, and there's E. coli and other various forms of bacteria in that ground and that soil. So we got to wash all of that off so we don't get it into our peeler, which will bring it down into our carrot. So it's very, very important. We're going to peel that carrot. We're going to put it down on the surface. We're going to cut it at a 45-degree angle. Then we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. Then we're going to cut it one more time at a 45-degree angle until we get back to the end of the carrot. And I'm going to show you a quick video now that was done by one of our chefs here, Chef Luke, who is absolutely fantastic. And he's an extremely creative individual here. So let me share the screen with you so we can take a look at Chef Luke and his paysanne cut. Can everybody see my screen out there? Does that look good, Chef Matt? Chef Matt?
Yeah, it looks good.
All right, guys.
Good to me.
Put your seatbelts on. This is a fast video. Everybody get that? So the paysanne, and then that video was done by Chef Luke Schaefer, talented guy. The paysanne is going to be 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/8 of an inch. It's what we call a tile cut. If you Google it, you're probably going to find a ton of different variations. I think even in one of our research materials here at Escoffier, there is a different variation of the cut as well. For this week's assignment, the paysanne, we are looking for 1/2 inch long, 1/2 inch wide, 1/8 of an inch thick. So it's going to look like a tile, just like was demonstrated there. So you're going to peel your carrot, you're going to square it off, and then you're going to cut your 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch 1/8 of an inch. Word of advice when it comes to working with carrots. Carrots were, when they come out of the refrigerator, can be extremely not so pliable and not so friendly. So sometimes we'll let them come up to room temperature, which gives them more pliability and makes them a little bit easier to cut through. So think that one through, think ahead, get it done.
Also on carrots, real quick, if take your pictures right after you cut them, because if you put them in water, they're a lot of times they'll curl. It'll pull them out of shape. So get your pictures when they're freshly cut.
Absolutely. Yep, I agree with that. All right, guys, so our next cut is going to be the oblique, which I talked about before I talked about the paisan. We're going to take a look at the oblique cut here. 45-degree angle, rotate 180 degrees, 45-degree angle. It's not going to come out extremely consistent. Don't beat yourself up. It's extremely tough to do that. But you're going to want to get them as close as possible to consistency for the purpose of this exercise. Chef Luke has done another wonderful video for us, and we're going to pull that up quickly here and take a look at that one. Can everybody see that? Yep. You can see that one, Chef Matthew?
Looks good.
All right.
He's fast.
Yeah. It looks like the camera's a little I love it. So did everybody get that? So we have our paisan, and then we have our oblique cut this week. Paisan, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, 1/8 of an inch thick, tile cut. Don't look it up on Google because it's going to rock your world. There's a lot of different variations. Keep it simple. Just follow that 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/8 of an inch. Oblique cut. Peel that carrot after you wash it. 45-degree angle. Rotate 180 degrees. 45-degree angle again. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, you're not going to get it extremely consistent. Don't sweat. Don't lose any sleep. Get as close as you possibly can. As you get towards the end of the carrot, where the carrot gets a lot thicker, you're going to rotate that carrot much quicker because you're going to be making smaller cuts. So any questions about that, certainly feel free to reach out to myself or Chef Matt, and we will we will certainly help you out on that.
We got a couple hands up, Chef. Do we have a minute for?
Let's do it. Take them.
Okay, I saw Angelo first.
Angelo. Where's Angelo? Is he out there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I apologize about my chef whites. I was just at my son's baseball game.
That's all right.
But what I wanted to ask you guys about was the different measurements. Like I just literally got my HSED, so it's like mathematics is like embedded in my head. But for some reason, when I see the cuts in the different sizes you want, I don't know what I'm looking for. Like I don't know if I even been getting it right. So like I put it to the ruler and I'm like, okay, I got a 3-inch cut potato. And I'm like, I hope this is right. So I just seen the video and how you guys did it, but how do you use your ruler with like the square cuts and measure it up?
All right, in this week's assignment and in last week's assignment as well, there's those helpful links that list out all the dimensions of the knife cuts. They're down at the bottom of the class page. Click on it. They're going to have all the exact dimensions. And for example, the bâtonnet is a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 2 to 3 inches long. So you're going to leave one end up against the ruler that will show that it is a 1/4 inch. You'll line another piece up along the ruler that will show that it's 2 to 3 inches long. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Yeah. And Angelo, like I think we spoke earlier today, if you're still having a hard time with that, please feel free to pick up the phone, give me a call, and I'll spend a few minutes. I'll Zoom with you, and we'll walk you through it.
Chef Warren, would you mind showing them where that's located in the online campus? Maybe show them the examples that you're referring to?
Yeah, let me I'll jump ahead to that part, and we'll do that now. All right, everybody, we're going to go back to the screen share. And we're going to take a look at this week's class page right here. Can everybody see this yet? How about that? Chef Matthews, is the screen up?
Yep, that looks good.
All right. So this is last week's, like we talked about in class last week. Right down here at the bottom of the page, it says week 2 examples and help. And if you click on that link, it's going to talk about the different dimensions of the knife cuts. There's a small chart in here, right here, the dimensions, and that will explain all of the dimensions. And then there are examples of how people are showing the measurements of their knife cuts. For example, we just talked about this baton right here. This person has it lined up against the ruler lengthwise to show the length, and then the width is right here as well. So that is in the week 2 folder. And then if you go back to our class page and you scroll down to the week 3 folder, there are several different folders here this week. Those 2 videos that we just looked at a moment ago, the paisan and the oblique cut, are both in here. Those videos are, just click on this and it'll take you right to the videos. And then the example of the knife cuts is right here by clicking on that. I don't know how come Jose Andres Asupa is in there, but it looks pretty nice, so we'll leave it. The paisan cut is right here. The fine julienne lined up against the ruler so you can see the actual width. And then the paisan, the oblique. So everything is laid out nice and neat right here for you. And then taking a look, and I know this will make Chef Matthew happy. Taking a look at an example of a submission for this week's assignment. Ignore right here where it says narrative. You don't need to worry about that. Self-identification.
Holy Toledo, that's an incredible submission.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of these this week. But this is an example of a submission that was done by a student that is excellent. Sanitizer strip right on the money. It's perfect. Great job with all their mise en place, nice, neat, organized, well laid out. Tools are on the cutting board. Cutting board is secured to the work surface by an anchor. Knife grip looks fantastic. Index finger and thumb on the blade, 3 fingers on the grip. Claw, perfectly demonstrated. Fingertips on the food, ready to rock. This is a great julienne cut here, 1/8 of an inch, and it's 2 to 3 inches long right there. And then we have, what's that?
If you can go back one, and then you can see, I can see the length of that, and I can see the width of it, all in one picture.
Yep.
Beauty.
Yep. So that's a beautiful shot. Same thing with their brunoise. These are their fine juliennes right here, coming in at the first click of the ruler, 1/16 of an inch. And then the fine brunoise coming in at a 1/16 of an inch, as evident right here on the ruler. It's right in between 2 clicks. So their paisan, 1/8 of an inch, 1/2 an inch by 1/2 an inch, just like we talked about just a moment ago. And then their oblique cut looks absolutely fantastic. Cutting board, one of the things I like about this picture when it's submitted for the assignment, the cutting board is nice, neat, clean, and organized, and it just shows the oblique cut, which is an ideal scenario. Mise en place is laid out extremely well, extremely organized. This person took a few minutes to do this assignment and some organization. Everything's stored neatly. So that is an ideal assignment right there. So once again, under the week 3 class page, you're going to have your oblique cut, your paisan cut, the 2 videos that we just took a look at. You're going to have an example of the knife cuts, the dimensions, all that kind of good stuff. And then the example of the assignment, all right here. Take a few minutes, open them up. And if you're still a little bit concerned about the ruler or have any questions about that, which is really common, so don't worry about that, open up the week 2 examples and help tab right here under the week 2 assignment, and that will walk you through it. Angelo, you still there? Did Angelo go? All right. So I think.
I'm still here.
Okay. Does that help clarify everything for you?
Yes, that answered everything I needed to know. I'm glad. I didn't know that was right there. I appreciate both of you guys. It showed me everything that what I've been looking for and how to do everything. So
Cool. Yeah, we were going there, but we jumped ahead and we got there early for you. So if you have any questions about that, please let me know.
okay, I got your number. I talked to you today too. So
Yes, you did. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
thank you guys.
not a problem. Who's our next person there, Chef Matthew?
Abigail.
Abigail, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I just had a quick question. When will we be getting our the second equipment boxes? Or what when or for I thought we were doing like the tourning this week, but so for the small knife, the paring knife. When will we be getting the second equipment box?
That should be arriving during week 3.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Who's our
Good
next?
question.
Yeah, good question. Who's our next one?
Let's see, I don't see any others right now. Yeah, well, no, Angela's.
Timothy, let's see.
Archie actually said something in the chat room as well. Chef Matthew was talking about having the pictures for our assignments in order, and what I've been noticing when I add them to my order is either organizing them in alphabetical order or by size or like when the picture was taken, and so they're not really going in order, just kind of filling themselves.
It's not imperative that they're in order. It would be wonderful if they were in order. The order I'm talking about is the order that they're listed in the assignment. So what is picture number 1? What is picture number 2 in the assignment as it's written?
Absolutely. So when we label them, so when we label them, should we just label them like mise en place or workstation?
Those I don't really need labeled. It's just the cuts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just the cuts.
Yep.
Good question. Thank you very much.
Excellent question. What about Shantae? Is that how you say that?
Yes.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So with my cutting, it feels like I'm cutting crooked. I always catch myself making sure that I'm holding the knife right, but it still feels like my hand is crooked, and then I'm cutting them unevenly in planks. So I was trying to figure out how could I perfect that.
All right.
Weird.
Yeah, that number 1, that's completely normal because you're teaching yourself new muscle memory, and your hands are not traditionally used to doing that. So the thing that you need to focus on at this point is relaxing your grip, making sure you have 3 fingers on the grip, index finger and thumb on the blade, and you're working that circular motion. And just give yourself time. It's going to become muscle memory and habit after a period of time. It doesn't start out that way. It does feel awkward in the beginning, but it does get better.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Couple other pointers on that. Make sure you're standing up straight. Make sure your cutting board is straight to you. And make sure when you're looking down at the knife that the knife, you're straight over the knife. And, it's easy for that knife to if you're cutting really slow, the back gets kind of crooked. You just make sure you're right over that knife looking straight down, because make sure it's not leaning one way or the other. So I've noticed a lot of people doing that. Some people lean and they don't know it. So maybe have someone tell you.
Yeah, I think I lean. So yeah, I'm definitely going to look out for that. Thank you, Chef.
Yeah.
Just keep practicing. It's going to get better.
Great question.
All right, let's take a look at our rubric for this week. We're going to switch over, and I'm going to show you on the screen over here what that looks like. Can you see that there, Chef Matthew?
Yes, okay. That looks great.
This is our week 3 assignment rubric. And to create the assignment, you're going to have your self-identification photo. Hopefully you have your chef coats by now. and you have your hats, which are very important to wear, and you're wearing your shoes. Try not to get just a facial picture. Try to get as much as you possibly can, and make sure you're holding up your fingers for week 3. It's very, very important. Sanitizer bucket, test strip, right in between 50 and 100 parts per million on that. Proper mise en place on your station. One thing I've noticed a lot, not necessarily this week, but in prior classes, when you're setting your workstation and you're lining out all your mise en place, only have on your station what you're going to be working with. I've seen, jars of flowers. I saw a cat in one picture. I mean, get rid of everything other than what you're working with. It's going to help you go a lot faster and be a lot more organized. You're going to take a picture of holding your knife grip properly, and then your proper claw grip as well. Here we go, guys. Half a cup of julienne potato, half a cup of brunoise potato, half a cup of fine julienne potato, half a cup of fine brunoise, half a cup of the paysanne cut, and then half a cup of the oblique cut. So this week we are taking a look for 11 pictures. Like we talked about just a moment ago on the class page, there's 4 different links this week that will talk all about those cuts. And then in the prior week, there is also the actual dimensions of those cuts should you have any questions. So that takes care of this week's assignment. Make sure that we're focusing on that proper dress code. Make sure everybody's got a hat on. That's really, really important. So if anybody's got any questions about this week's assignment, please feel free to reach out. Let us know. We're here to help. We're here to walk you through it. And just because we care, we have something new this week. Our discussion board is starting. The discussion board is a great tool to work with. This industry involves so much networking. And the relationships that you're developing today with your fellow students are going to last you a lifetime, I guarantee you. I know you're probably in California talking to somebody in North Carolina on this discussion board. I've run across people that I haven't talked to in 10 years and I knew from school and everywhere else. Networking in this industry is extremely critical. Take advantage of the discussion board. It is a mandatory exercise to participate in. And this week we're going to be working on sanitation. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this up here so we can all take a look at it and see what's going on. Sanitation is a huge issue in our industry. A lot of people think about sanitation and they think, it's just somebody washing or sanitation solution. It costs the restaurant industry an estimated $50 billion a year in lost revenues. Sanitation issues that lead to certain forms of foodborne illness or inefficiencies back in the kitchen. It's a critical issue. It destroys employee morale. It destroys the image of the business and obviously destroys the business itself beyond the actual cost. So it's something we take extremely critical.
It can destroy your career as well.
Yep, absolutely. So like we mentioned, this discussion board, we're gonna be starting this week. You're going to go to the class page, and right here it says discussions, and you're going to click on sanitation, and it's going to take you to the page that we're going to be working on this week. And what you're going to do is you're going to click on this first link here, and this will tell you how to post to the discussion. And then once you're ready to do that and you've got yourself ready to go, you're going to add your initial post. Now, each person is required to write 2 paragraphs this week about, the first one is going to be about a sanitation situation that you encountered somewhere in the industry, whether you were out eating with some friends, if you were going through a drive-through. I don't want to talk about this, but too much, but I will just to share, to give you guys an example. I was going through a drive-through a couple of weeks ago, and the fellow reached down and handed my wife and I our beverages, and then he turned around and he wiped his nose and then he went back and he got the remainder of the food. That is a major sanitation issue, which certainly resonated in our minds. So you want to write about some type of issue, one paragraph about that. And then you're going to put that into your post right here. Your second paragraph, you're going to do some research on Google. And it's just a paragraph. We're not looking for an essay. I don't know if anybody's familiar out there with what elevator talk is, right? So if you were in an elevator and you had to describe a situation to somebody, you would do it rather quickly and efficiently. So that's kind of what we're looking for. So you're going to research some type of foodborne outbreak, whether it be in your local community or within your state. The reason we don't want you just to grab Chipotle off the old block, for example, we don't want everybody discussing the same issue. So try to find something within your local community, your local area, your local state that's happened. Google it, read it, create a quick summary of it, and then create a paragraph. And then you're going to put that in here. And so those will be your 2 paragraphs that you're going to put into your message right here. And then once you've done that, you're going to hit post to forum. That will be worth 6 points. The total discussion board is worth 10 points. Your initial post is due no later than Saturday at 11:59 to get the full 6 points. Don't let these little points slip by. They add up. Initial discussion post due Saturday at 11:59 to get the full 6 points. If you turn it in on Sunday, you get 5 points. If you turn it in on Monday, you get 4 points, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the way down to 0. So all the instructions are in there. Once you've made your post to the initial forum, you will go ahead and you will open up the discussion forum once again. And you are required to respond to 2 different people's posts in there. So you're going to open up the link and you're going to see other people's links or other people's discussions in here. And you're going to open up and you're going to make 2 responses to somebody else's article. And this is the networking part. It's very, very important. It's a great way to start discussions and learn about different forms of foodborne illness or outbreaks that are going on and what you can do to prevent it and save yourself a little hair down the road. So that is our discussion. When you make your replies, a reply is not quantified as being great. A reply is not quantified as being sure. You try to do a legitimate reply. Wow, that's a serious case of foodborne outbreak. I didn't realize that it would affect so many different lives in so many different ways. Try to justify what you're saying. That second part, your responses are due no later than Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. and that is where you will get the other 4 points. So a total of 10 points are possible on this exercise. So also on Saturday, when they're all due Saturday at 11:59 to get the full 6 points, those 6 points will pop up into your grade. Don't worry, because you haven't had the opportunity to turn in the responses to other people's posts yet, so you're still missing those 4 points. Our grading system works in real time, so don't check back until Wednesday to make sure that you got all those points. And Chef Matthew, I'm sure you've done quite a few culinary competitions out there, whether it be through ACF or another organization. Those things are always won and lost by mere points, aren't they?
Yes.
So
and one of the places that they really stress you to have all your P's and Q's is sanitation, because they're really pretty easy points. So you definitely want to score big on those. I can think of a story once, place I was working, the new guy didn't know better, so he had his kitchen towel that he was carrying around and he was blowing his nose in it and then using it to pick up pans, and I just blew my stack when I saw it.
That is gross.
Yeah. And the number one cause of foodborne illness is people.
Yeah.
It's our mistakes. It's our bodily fluids that should not be on food.
Yep.
So,
Number
Yep.
one form of spreading foodborne illness in the food service industry are your hands, right? Norovirus, right? Number one form of spreading that is with your hands. And so hand washing. So if you've been out to a restaurant before and you've noticed, the server picking up your check, counting your money, and then turn around and serving you food without washing your hands, boom, safety. That's a big issue. Have you gone out to a restaurant and had spotty glassware with stuff dried to it? And I think if everybody kind of reflects upon this, you're going to think of a lot of interesting things. I've got a horror story, a closet filled with horror stories over the last 37 years of stuff I've seen in kitchens. And it's something that we work every day to prevent. So, how about Demara Lee's out there? She's got a question.
I was just wondering because you were talking about pictures and standing up straight. Should we have someone take a picture of us as we're doing some of the cutting and stuff like that?
We
so
really
you can see it properly.
We really don't need any live action photos, but a full head to toe shot of your uniform, in proper dress is absolutely an ideal scenario.
Okay.
Yeah. If somebody can take pictures, that's great, but don't give me 62 pictures. Please just give me.
I was just wondering at least one or two pictures of like you cutting everything the right way and everything. I just want to make sure.
Right.
I mean, if it falls within the list on the assignment, I want those pictures. So you're just going to submit 11 for week 3.
How many this week? How many?
11.
11. Right.
Yep. 11.
That's critical. What about Abigail out there? What do you got, Abigail?
I just had a quick question about sanitation. About the pictures. I have a spray bottle that is quite tiny. How much Clorox should I be using in a tiny spray bottle, like a teaspoon?
It's the same ratio.
Quite tiny. Are we talking like this here? It's not from like a dollhouse, is it?
No.
No? Okay. That's pretty good. Well, okay. So the rule of thumb, and you can make a little bit of a larger batch, right? But the rule of thumb is going to be half a gallon of warm water to half a teaspoon of bleach. To cut that in half, you're going to do a quarter gallon of water to a quarter teaspoon of bleach. And is that a quart? It looks like it's fairly close to a quart.
12 ounces, yeah.
Well, so it's a little bit over a quart. Yeah, they're a little bit shy of a quart. It's closer to an eighth of a gallon, which is a pint, which is 16 ounces. So you're going to, just do an eighth of a gallon of water to an eighth of a teaspoon of bleach, and you're going to be right on the money.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and if you can't measure that, just measure the half teaspoon and half gallon and throw the rest away. Don't feel bad about it.
Okay.
We won't say anything. We won't tell PETA. Okay. Yeah. Michelle. Wait, is somebody okay? Let's see.
Can you hear me?
There she is.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that I did confirm with student support that you guys will receive your second toolkit this week, and you'll receive emails with the tracking numbers, okay? So it's on its way.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's great. Any other questions out there? I want to do a quick wrap up this week just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Once again, awesome job this past week on your week 2 assignments. Get those Google issues worked out. Call technical support. We have the link on the class page. It's there. Take advantage of it. And then it's so cool, like Chef Matthew and I were talking earlier today, to see all of your progress out there. It's exciting, man. And it's great to see you guys coming up with chefs. I really get into that. I think that's so cool. And then I can't wait to see what comes out of week 3 with these fine julienne and these fine brunoise. If your potatoes get lost on your cutting board, don't lose any sleep. Those things get awfully small. but they're there somewhere, trust me. And then remember the importance of the mise en place and the professionalism and keeping that station set, organized, proper anchor, only what you need to work with. We're going to start getting into more complicated things as we progress here. We're going to start getting out of the knife cuts and start making stocks and soups and all that other stuff. Organization, build those habits now. Don't wait until you're having to learn how to make stocks and soups and everything else, and then you're trying to figure out how to get set up at the same time. It's like riding a bicycle backwards. It doesn't work too well. And then don't forget about our 2 new knife cuts this week, the Paisan, half-inch, 1/8 of an inch, tile cut, and our oblique, which is 45 degrees, rotate 180 degrees, 45 degrees. Don't forget that on our class page, we have 4 new links for you to take a look at that's going to give you all the help you need with this week's assignment. It's going to talk about the 2 Instagram videos that we looked at this week. It's going to give you a really nice example of the assignment of the 11 photos that are due this week. And then it's also going to give you a nice example of the actual knife cuts itself. Oh yeah. And do not forget about the discussion forum. It is critical. This is, I know it seems a little awkward and this whole networking thing and all this kind of stuff. It is going to be one of the most valuable tools that you have in this industry. I can't tell you how many positions I've gotten because I've known somebody, because I took the time to talk to them and I took the time to develop that relationship. Right now, you're all surrounded by some awesome people. You've got some awesome peers out there. Get involved in these discussion boards. I guarantee you, one of you will know somebody down the road that you're going to work with. It's going to happen. Discussion board, don't forget, 11:59 Saturday night for your initial post, 6 points. Tuesday, 11:59 for your 2 responses for the, 2 responses for your 4 points. It's very, very important. If anybody out there has any problems with their specific assignment, they don't like their grade, they don't understand their grade. I know Chef Matthew does a great job explaining all that, but should you have any questions, reach out to him, let him know. He's there to help you. If you guys have any technical issues, technical support, they're there, they're gonna help you. If you guys have any work issues, right, or if you wanna start your externship, right, contact your career coach. Last week's assignment page has all that, or the class cafe has all that information. And then, if you have any questions about the assignment, you don't understand the class, you need help in the class, contact me. Shoot me a text. Our numbers are there on the side of the page. We're here to help you succeed. Right? Does anybody have any questions out there? What about Timothy? I see your hand up. Timothy?
Yes.
Hey, Timothy.
Yes. You said something about starting our externships. Can we start them now, or do we have to wait till the end of the program?
A word of advice: it's never too soon to get yourself into the kitchen. I don't know that you can start your externships now. You can contact your career coach, and they're going to help you out and walk you through that whole process. Go to the class cafe. The map in there and the phone numbers about who can help you with that is in there. But my advice is, if you can get yourself into the kitchen now and start practicing what we're teaching you, you're going to be that much further ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So take advantage of it.
I see 2 more hands up, Dan and Michelle. I don't know who was first.
Ladies can go first.
First.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Michelle.
I don't think I raised my hand again. I was just letting you guys know about the toolkits. I don't think I raised my hand again, though.
Okay.
That's okay. You're welcome to go again if you want. You get 2 free turns per class.
No, just to let them know they can reach out to the student success coaches. We're here for you.
Awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit? I don't think we've introduced a student success coach yet, and I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what you guys do and how you can help the students. That'd be great.
Sure. So basically, our main goal is really we want to make sure that you guys are successful in all of your courses and are successfully able to graduate from the program. But we can help with several different resources. whether it's trying to strategize how to manage your time more effectively. If you even have trouble, navigating the system, you have general questions about certain things in your classes. If it's technique specific, you definitely want to reach out to your chef instructors, but we're definitely here. Even something simple as I'm going on vacation and we need to plan ahead and strategize for that. I can also connect you to the online support team if that's something you're having issues with, and also career services. I can definitely connect you with them for questions such as externship sites. But we're definitely here. All of the coaches, we're working with all of our culinary students. We're here Monday through Friday, generally from 9 a.m. Central Time to 6 p.m. Central Time. But please feel free to reach out to us. No question, too small. Definitely call us if you do need us.
And Michelle, what's your number?
My direct number is 224-698-2166. So that's 224-698-2166. So you can call me if you don't know who your student success coach is. I'll be more than happy to contact you. And hopefully if anybody is assigned to me that's here tonight, they already know that we're working together, but I'll be sure to get you to the right person.
Would you mind throwing your number there in the chat? That'd be great.
Oh, yes, I surely will.
Thank you so much for introducing yourself. I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome, Chef Warren.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Gentleman Dan.
Hi, how's it going? So my question is, you guys have the product sheet on the week 3. So you guys have it just for us to get a feel for it and then for it to focus on the future? Or do we want to focus it on it this week, or at least touch base on it?
Touch base on it. We're going to start really getting into it in the following weeks, which is extremely important. But those product sheets, it's a good habit to get yourself into filling those out now. Okay. Which brings us to our next topic and our final topic of the evening. We're trying to get a good idea of what it costs to purchase these potatoes and these carrots and this other mise en place on a weekly basis. If somebody wants to keep track of that, it's extra points, extra credit for you to do it. And what we're asking is if you could just simply write down on that product sheet that you bought 2 potatoes, 2 carrots, and what the cost was. And then we're going to accumulate that cost throughout the class. And we're going to submit that information in week 12. So we can get a very accurate cost established, what things are costing, where, and kind of get like a spread. Things cost a little different in California than they do in New York. And so we want to kind of condense those numbers and try to get a good average cost for everybody. So if you're interested in a little bit of extra credit, do it. We'll take it. Absolutely.
Dan, looks like Dan Peck has a question.
I do, Chef. Thank you. Sure. Sorry, I was kind of late getting my hand up there. I wanted clarification on the photographs that you showed from the prior submissions concerning mise en place. Everything on there seemed to be already washed and peeled. Is that how you would prefer that, or do you prefer a raw product in that photo?
The short and the long to that is exactly the way the rubric spells it out. It's not asking for pictures of any raw product this week for this week's assignment. So you don't need to show the raw unwashed product. It'd be the washed prepared product.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good question.
Good question though, Dan. Thank you. Yeah.
Chef, do we have time for a really quick potato story?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so a friend of mine worked at this restaurant. I wasn't even there, but this is just, I think it's so funny. So a friend of mine works at this restaurant and they just opened, so they were super busy. And this waiter comes out in the dining room and he's got a huge tray he's carrying with all these plates on it. And he's walking by this table and this lady says, sir, my potato, sir, can you please look at my potato? He said, ma'am, I'll be right back. I got to put this tray down. So he goes, puts the tray down, serves the food, goes back in the kitchen. The manager grabs him and says, hey, you got to take this next tray out. So he's so busy, he forgets. So he comes out of the kitchen again with another tray, walks by the same table, and the lady says, sir, my potato is bad, sir, my potato. He's like, ma'am, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. So same thing happens again. Here he comes back out of the kitchen with another tray full of food, comes up to the table, and the lady stops him again, and he's like, uh-oh, I better do something about this. So this is not good customer service, by the way. So he puts the tray down, he goes over to the table, and he says, okay, pass me the potato. The lady passes it to him, and he picks it up, and he says, bad potato, and gives it back to him, and then delivers the food.
Oh, man. Have you ever put 50 pounds of, in industry, we use mixers that are 20 quart, 40 quart. They're massive mixers. And I don't know if Chef Matthew, you've ever put 50 pounds of cooked potatoes into the Hobart mixer with the whip attachment and accidentally put it on high before. That is an awesome experience if you've never done that. If you've never seen potatoes dripping from the ceiling in the kitchen, you haven't lived. You'll all be there soon. Everyone, thank you very much for an awesome week 3 live session class. Once again, any questions, please feel free to reach out and let us know. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing about what you do in the student services. That is awesome. So we appreciate that. You guys rock. You tore it up on week 2. Really looking forward to week 3. Have a great night.